Welcome to the latest edition of the Tie Up, the show where I take you through a partial journey of my independent wrestling career, interviewing guys I worked with along the way. The Tie Up is in part provided by TableOC.com. For all your streaming, entertainment, and technology news, make sure to check out TableOC.com and check out their Roundtable show each Sunday immediately before the Tie Up over at twitch.tv Zazaboo at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Speaking of that, there he is with that raid. Thank you so much. So, tonight's guest is Joe Milo, a guy I feuded with heavily in multiple promotions. He's also a legit MMA fighter who's choked me out, even though I had an easy 50 pounds on him. I was even an honored guest at his wedding. So, Joe, how you doing tonight, my dude?
So privileged to be on here. I've been looking forward to it. I've watched the last couple of even less. No, well, I watched the last one with Soldier, and I can't believe I'm having to follow behind that guy because what a talker and what a wrestler. He's incredible, and I love Tommy to death.
Awesome. So let's talk about how you got involved in pro wrestling. Let's start there.
Really, he's going to jump right off the bat.
Well,
okay.
Before we do that, why don't we? How did you get into like watching pro wrestling first? Talk about the story, like if you had a family member or something. Actually, before you do that, let me cut you back off.
Okay.
I want to Colby, BTY Colby Godwin. I'm sure you know who that is.
What up, Colby?
He said, Milo was the legit Haku of our area, the toughest MFer in the locker room. I watched him pass Waylon Barley out twice in a hotel room with a rear naked choke. That's actually how you passed me out, too. He took lip off of no one and was one of the most talented guys in the area. I love him like a real brother and proud of the man he would become, BTY.
Dude, I appreciate that, Colby.
What do you say to that?
I'm not gonna, I know. It's like, and I love you too, bro. I loved eating shit and every one of you guys. But yeah, we had a good time, and I looked up to each and every one of you guys. I molded myself a lot of, and took something from each and every one of you, not just in the ring, but outside the ring. But when it comes to how I got into wrestling, I started out probably around 8 years old. So I'm 32 now. So y'all got the math. I had my uncle. He was around 25, I think 23. He got me into watching it, and my uncle was like my best friend. He was he was actually like a father figure to me. He did everything with me, took me everywhere. We hung out so much. And this guy, like I said, 23-year-old hanging out with an 8-year-old. And he was probably young at the time. But anyways, he got me into it so much. And I remember my first pay-per-view, he let me go watch with him.
I think we're having some technical difficulties. Can you hear me, Joe? Just one moment.
There we are.
Yep. All right. Can you hear me now?
You still there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Nope.
Yeah.
No worries.
Where'd I leave off?
You said well, the screen's going crazy right now. You said it
that's what I said. Was I talking about Colby and them still?
No, you were talking about your uncle, I believe. You said he was like a father.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my uncle. He was like a father figure to me. He got me into wrestling, and he took me to watch my first pay-per-view at a friend's house.
What pay-per-view was that?
It was Halloween Havoc, WCW's Halloween Havoc.
What year?
I believe it was DDP and Karl Malone.
Wow. Okay. So you were a late bloomer then.
I was. I mean, that was the first pay-per-view I got to see.
Okay.
I watched wrestling a lot before that. I just watched Raw and stuff like that religiously. My dad would get ticked off because I would take the TV from him every Monday. I'm like, Dad, it's my night. I'm sorry, it's my night. And he's like, he gets so mad. I was like, you watch that? My dad didn't watch it, but my uncle would come over and watch it, and that's all we did, man. I remember wearing the NWO shirts all the time, and the DDP was probably my favorite wrestler growing up, till he retired, and then till I found out WWE or WWF at the time.
So you started in WCW then. That's pretty much NWO. Yep. Boom Baby. Yep. Did you watch any pro wrestling before that? Like, did you ever see it at all, or was it really just the NWO kicking off? And this is what kind of?
No, I believe the first memory I had was when Hulk Hogan walked out wearing the NWO. That was the first memory. That's the first thing I remember. Like, I didn't never know when they started showing Hulk Hogan in this red and yellow. I was like, "What the crap's that?"
So you never knew that he told you to eat your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.
No, not at all. I was like, everybody's like, "Oh, it's Hulk Hogan, blah blah blah." I can't believe it's Hulk. And I'm like, cool, he's a bad guy. It's Hulk Hogan. Okay. I think I remember watching him in The Nanny though. Like
Mr. Nanny.
Mr. Nanny, yeah. So that was the Hulk Hogan I knew, and then I'm like, oh, dude, this guy's, this is pretty cool. And I got into the Sting and the DDP, and I was diehard WCW until I seen WWF, and I was like,
So did you switch over? Like you stopped watching WCW, or?
Nope, I was one of those kids that watched the first hour of WCW. As soon as WWE popped on, I jumped on over to WWE.
So were you like me? Did you stay up? Because if you remember, TNT used to air a second showing of Nitro at like midnight.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I used to stay up. Like, my mom would kill me if she ever heard the story. But I would watch the first episode of Nitro when they went 3 hours, and then I would switch over to WWF, and I would watch that until it went off. And then it was like midnight Central Time that WCW would come back on. So I'd tell her I was going to sleep. I'd wait for her to go to sleep. And then I would turn it back on in my room and watch the other two. I would watch the first hour again, and then watch the other 2 hours of what I missed for WCW.
Okay. No, see, I wish I knew that, because I'd have done the same thing.
Tuesdays were so hard at school.
No, like, I probably could have. My parents, I don't want to get on parent subjects, but they were pretty lenient. My parents wouldn't even know. They'd be like, okay, they probably wasn't even home at that age. But yeah, my uncle got me into it. And everything he did, I wanted to do. And actually, everything he was into, I wanted to be part of. And
so how much older is your uncle?
He was 20. He was like 23, and I was like 8.
Okay, like, so that was a big age difference. Okay,
dude, it was, and he was like my best friend. Like, I'm talking about, he hung out with me all the time.
That's awesome.
He took me. We'd go swimming all the time, fishing, watch wrestling. He'd come over and play video games. And when I was 11 years old, he passed away from. He was only 25. And he got hit. He actually got hit by a car walking across the road from just to check the mail. Yeah. And regardless him being gone, he influenced me so much at a young age. He was a diehard Bulls fan with the whole Jordan thing, and he was a diehard wrestling fan. And I got into basketball because he played basketball. I got into wrestling because he watched wrestling, and I did, and I really looked up to. I still look up to him today, and I still admire the man he was. And yeah, I don't want to bring down the show, but yeah, he was a great dude.
No, it's part of your story. That's awesome, dude. That he you had a relationship with like that, with somebody like that, that was, you know, your uncle. I grew up without a father, so like I would have loved to have that uncle or something that I could have went to and had that relationship with. How did you deal with death at such a young age, though? Like, because I mean, you were obviously very close to him, and it was more like a brother that you lost,
Yeah.
and not an uncle, you know.
Dude, it was rough. It was really rough. I actually lost my grandmother 3 years later, or 3 years earlier, on the exact same day.
Oh wow.
Exact same day. That was the car accident I was in. I don't know if I ever told you about it.
I vaguely remember, yeah, hearing about it. Well, you got a platform.
See the scars on my.
There you go. Talk about it.
I was 8. No, yeah, I was 8. I was 8 years old, and we got into a guy had a heart attack at the wheel, ran a stop sign, and hit us broadside. It's me, my mom, my grandmother, and my sister. And my mom broke 14 bones in her body, she's disabled. My sister only took a calf, a hunk out of a calf of her leg, or a hunk out of the calf of her leg. And my mom got 3rd-degree burns. I mean, my mom got brutalized. And and my grandmother got threw out the window of the car because the seatbelt was damaged when we bought the car, and the seatbelt didn't work. And like 2 minutes before we got in the accident, my grandmother said, "Hey guys, put your seatbelts on." So my grandma was like my guardian angel right there to save us. And this is the only thing that happened to me, my forehead. And
was that mostly from glass, or?
I have no idea what it was. I have no idea. It knocked me unconscious. And I wake up. I remember waking up in the light, the light, and the guy standing over me and seeing it, trying to figure out if I'm okay or not. And wake up in the ambulance all the way, and I look over, my mom's ankle was just destroyed. I can remember all that. But yeah, it was a pretty rough time, and it was kind of like the downhill of my family's implosion, I guess what you'd say. But I don't want to get in really. We might get into that. I don't really know. But yeah, I dealt with death. I've dealt with death, but my uncle was super hard. It was super hard with my uncle because he was my best friend. And probably 30 minutes before he got killed, he was actually at my house looking for me and came over to play video games with me. So dealing with being that young and having that on my mind, thinking, man, if I was home.
Naturally, you blamed yourself, right?
Exactly. But it was all in God's plan, and I understand that. And he influenced so many people. Like, I still have people come up to me to this day and be like, man, your uncle is a great dude. And they're like, he's such a hard worker. And he still influenced me today when people come tell me that kind of stuff. And it was great. My grandpa would tell me, he was like, he's like, I hate going to see your uncle when I go to his work, go see him, because I have to run everywhere he goes, because he runs constantly. He's constantly moving. And because he's such a hard worker. And then, like, he was with Lowe's for like 6 months, and they wanted to make him an assistant manager.
Wow.
He was good at his job, and he worked hard. And it's sad that he was gone, but and it was hard. Like I said, it was hard because I lost my mentor and I lost my father figure. And because I have a dad, and my dad was always with me. And my dad, I mean, not always with me, but my dad was always home. He was never. I didn't have a divorced family. They were there, but they had a lot of problems of their own. My mom and dad did, when it comes to substance abuse, we'll say that. And a lot of people look at me today and be like, "How'd you turn out the way you did?"
Right.
And I'm like, it's Jesus Christ and my uncle. That's the only way I turned out like I did, because without them two, I don't know who I'd be. But
Well, and I think on that, I mean, my childhood wasn't the greatest either, and I think you come to a crossroad in your life where you can decide to use your past as a crutch on who you know choose to be in life. So if you want to take the easy road and just blame it on your background, that's an option, or you can choose the high road and work for it and make sure it's going to be harder, but you know, you still know right from wrong. I mean, you easily could have probably fell into that same substance abuse life, and then you would have had a crutch to lean on, you know, and said, well, this is all I know, this is how I grew up, you know. But you know, you definitely didn't turn out like that, and you know, like you said, you know, Christ has a plan, and thank God for that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but like you said, everything happens for a reason, and I think my uncle did his job on Earth, and that's why he was took home, and I'm just supposed to keep teaching my kids what he taught me. But the way I got into wrestling was it was pretty it's a pretty wild story. I'd seen some guys putting up posters of wrestling, and I was like, man, I want to be part of that. That was what I wanted to be since I first started watching it. I was hooked when I seen Hulk Hogan come out, and even though I didn't know who he was, I was hooked on the spectacle part of it. I was hooked on the crowd. It was everything to me. And I was like, and I told my mom, I remember standing in the kitchen of our house, and I was like, I'm going to be a wrestler one day. She's like, you're too small. I was like, I don't care.
How many times have you heard that?
I was like, I don't care. I was like, she's like, you're going to get hurt. I was like, I don't care. That's what I'm going to do. And so I seen these guys, and I thought they were legit wrestling. I thought they were. I thought it was legit wrestling guys, and turns out they were a bunch of backyarders, which I'm not against that because I did that too. But this was a backyarders actually renting a ring and trying to put on an actual real show.
Wow.
Yeah, it was it was brave of them. I could see what they were trying to, and I thought, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't really care. I didn't care. They had a ring,
right?
And I was like, I'm gonna get in that ring.
I mean, I don't care. I don't think that's backyard wrestling. That's entrepreneurship right there. You know, like
that's true. But I mean, none of them were trained by nobody.
Sure.
I think one of them was. I think the guy that owned it trained for maybe a week or two, maybe a month or so with AWF, which is funny. That's where this leads to. Anybody don't know AWF? It's American Wrestling Federation out of Chipley, Florida. But I started wrestling with these guys because I just wanted to be in a ring. I didn't care who I was wrestling or how. And one of the guys I'll tell you, the company was SPW, that
Southern Pro Wrestling out of Alabama.
Yeah, that's the ones we didn't. I mean, everybody knows the story of SPW, but
no, they don't.
No, well,
a lot of people here don't even know the story of SPW. Okay,
I don't want to get into there.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. Colby said Tiger Lee.
Everybody, that name explains it all. If you Tiger Lee. Okay. Anyways,
I will go on record and say that SPW was ran by I know you don't want to say it, so I'll say it. SPW was ran by a name of a man called Ron Ivy and his daughter, and literally they were taking their disability checks they were getting from the state of Alabama to fund their wrestling shows and putting their mentally disabled children in the ring. Real shit show of a, excuse my language, but it hurt pro wrestling more than it did good.
Yeah, you said it, and that's true. What you said was true. It's true. I mean, I just didn't want to get into that, but that's cool. I mean, I understand. I get it.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I went in there. Okay, this guy. Okay, no, that happened down the road. Anyways, they were renting a ring from SPW, and and one of the guys that working with him was actually a legit Hollywood star. If y'all know him. He actually worked with AWF out of Chipley, and Gary Johnson, the owner of AWF, was talking to him about, do you see any guys with any talent or anything that could maybe be any good at actually wrestling? And he said, yeah. He said one guy, and it was me. So he's like, Gary told him to invite me over and see what I got and see if I, could, train, do the, wrestle. Well, that's where it started, man. I actually started going over to Gary Johnson's house, and
I'm pretty sure that's the first time I met you was in Gary Johnson's backyard.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that was the first time I met you, because you were training with Joel at that time, right?
Joel.
I don't know Joel. That's all I can remember. But go ahead, finish.
Anyway, this is around 2000, I think 2005, summer around about around the summer of 2005. And I started training with these guys, training with Star and stuff like that, and I mean, everybody says, a lot of people that met me right off the bat thought I was, conceited and thought I knew everything I was talking about, didn't want to listen and stuff like that. And I remember David Prime coming over, and he got so ticked with me, man. He got so ticked with me because I guess I came off that way, and I really didn't mean to. I really was like, if you ever try to teach me something, I was gonna go try to do it. I mean, I would, and I would want you to critique me if I didn't do it right, but I never I guess I didn't take time enough and just stop and listen for a little while.
You were young,
instead of going to do it,
right?
And so, but he realized afterwards I wasn't like that. Me and Prime's good. I love Prime, but I rubbed people the wrong way, I think, because it did catch on. I did catch on super quick.
Sure.
I studied the stuff, man. I studied it and I watched it over and over and over and over. I watched everything, and that's how I learn. I'm very visual, and if I watch it and watch it, and it just came very natural to me. And sports to me, coming from, I played basketball since I was in 7th grade and through high school, and so the athletic part was really, it came super easy. But there's some things I couldn't do, man. There's a lot of things I couldn't do. But one thing I remember trying one day, tried to do a shooting star press off in the backyard. Don't ever do that when there's no crowd around. Anybody watching this is a wrestler or training to be a wrestler, don't do stupid stuff when there's no crowd around, because it ain't worth. Don't do stupid stuff when there's a crowd around,
right?
If you don't feel comfortable.
But yeah, to get hurt when there's nobody around, that it's the stupidest thing you can do.
I was like, "Why?"
At least get a payday out of it, right?
Exactly. I landed right on my head.
Oh,
landed right on my head with
Brock Lesnar did, huh?
I did. I Brock Lesnar, but I didn't flip. He flipped to his stomach. I didn't. I basically choke slammed myself for the top rope.
Oh man,
is what I did. And then I used to do the even crazier stuff. I used to do the lion salt.
Right.
And one time I tried that, and the hook straightened out on the buckle, and I scorpioned myself. So don't do that either. But I trained in Gary Johnson's backyard for about a year, and with no match. And they wanted to put me in, they wanted to put me in the match. They wanted to, give me opportunity, but I knew my limitations, and I knew that I felt like I was like, no, I want to train a little bit longer. So I trained for probably 2 years, close to 2 years, before I ever got in the ring. But we got a match. But
so how old were you when you first started training?
17.
17. And so you were about 19 when you had your first match?
Yeah, close to 9, like Yeah, it might have been a year and a half that I got my first match. I don't remember. I remember wasn't really a match. It was one of your battle royals.
Right.
You know, it wasn't really got a one-on-one match, and so I did the battle royal, and then I got the itch for it and want to keep going, keep getting a match, and try to get better. But then AWF would never let me. They would never give me an opportunity. They want to put me in squash matches.
I just saw you take a Mega Crusher that was absolutely crazy. Let me rewind that real quick.
Oh God, is that the one? Which one is that one?
That's when you were facing off with Cameron Frost for New Heights Wrestling.
Oh yeah, that was one of my latest ones that wasn't so hot. But yeah, I did a thumbs up. You notice I'm doing like a thumbs up when he throws at me. It's pretty hilarious. Watch me. It's like
That was crazy.
Yeah, that's one thing. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna if you want to continue about that, that's fine. I was just gonna ask you how you came up with the name Milo, how you became Milo. I remember you when I first saw you, you were wearing like red sweatpants and a Joe Milo, or not a Joe Milo, but a Milo Sweet T-shirt, and that was your wrestling gear.
Yeah, dude, it was horrible, bro. I was a poor white boy. I'm telling you, a lot of people talk about. I was poor as poor could be, and I didn't have nothing. Those those sweatpants or those
track pants,
whatever,
I guess.
Track pants or whatever. Those weren't even mine. I stole them from one of my buddies. So, and that T-shirt was free. Okay. My buddy's dad works for MILO'S Sweet Tea, so that was a free T-shirt. But I just really loved the name Milo. I always I seen it and I was like, dude, that's an awesome name. I was like, I could hear people just chanting that name. And
okay.
I was right. And I
Two
was right.
syllables. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I could, and man, I think I was right, because when it came to, that's all I could hear during the match was that name. But yeah, I really, really liked the name, and so it stuck with me, and I think it fit me pretty well.
But how did that come about? Like, so you said that you could hear people chanting it, but like, what was the first time you saw Milo?
Really, I think it was on my T-shirt. And I was like, it's true. It was
okay. Hey, so you got your name from the T-shirt.
A T-shirt, yes. I got it from the T-shirt, people. I got it from the T-shirt. I don't care, y'all. Yeah, it's been okay. Anyways, I got it from the T-shirt, and I was like, I like that name. That's gonna be my name. And I've been trying to figure. My first wrestling name that I thought I was gonna come up with, thought sound cool, was Nova. So
that was done though. That was
I didn't know that. I did not know.
You didn't know Supernova back in that day?
No, I didn't. I did not know that, and until I started getting into it and started researching stuff, started looking up names. Like, okay, I'll be Nova, and then I started looking at that found, and I was like, crap, there's already been a Nova, so I got to think of something else. And then that came up, and I loved it. And did you ever? Let me ask you a question. Did you ever, when you were like in high school or kid, did you ever draw your wrestling symbol, like while you're just doodling a board?
I used to draw my wrestling gear and stuff, but see, for me, when I was in middle school and high school and I was going to be a pro wrestler, I was going to be 7 feet tall and 300 pounds, and my wrestling name was going to be Carnage, and I was going to be like this Kane type of wrestler, and that never happened. So true story. Ghost Fighter X1 in chat can back me up on that story. And
I don't got a cool as name as Tighe, so I had to find something else.
Well, I mean, I was Impact before that. I don't think you knew me.
I did know you had Impact.
Okay.
I knew his Impact. You dropped Impact like right after I met you, though.
Yeah, that's because TNA Impact came out, and then so I was like, I probably should have used the name to try and like
draw.
draw interest from that promotion, but I was stupid and was like, well, I don't want to be compared with TNA Impact. That would have been the best thing I could have ever done, and you're an idiot, Chris Tighe.
The first time I seen you was that Canadian gimmick, and I loved it. God, I loved it. I was so like into that. I was like, dude, that's a heel right there. I was, and I didn't know you wasn't Canadian. It took a while to realize that he wasn't. But
and what's funny is I was even the Canadian converted superstar at that time. So like I was pretty straight out, like letting everybody know that I was not really Canadian, but everybody would chant USA anyway. I'm like, well, I'm still from USA. So are you chanting for me?
I still live here, but I say I'm Canadian.
So you wrestled a lot in CSW. You wrestled in WIW, AWF, New Heights Wrestling. Let's talk about. I think you wrestled for Ultimate Wrestling as well. You wrestled for SPW. What was your favorite promotion that you wrestled for?
Oh, favorite promotion. There's no crowd like a CSW crowd.
Right.
I can tell you that. There's no crowd like that. I love those guys. Favorite promotion, like.
You see, Mossy Head, Florida always will hold a special place in my heart just because of the crowd in Mossy Head, Florida. I loved wrestling in all these other buildings, but you know, there were certain buildings that really struck out to me. You know, when we were in Florala, Alabama for New Heights Wrestling, when we first started New Heights Wrestling, me, you, Waylon, and Colby, he just said in chat the original 4 pillars. You know, like Florala, Alabama felt like a wrestling building.
It did, and it felt like a wrestling. I mean, it did. It felt like a wrestling building, and the crowd felt. The people that came felt like real fans too.
Right.
It felt like they invested. They invested in us, and that's what I mean, I love New Heights. New Heights is, of course, will always be my favorite place to work because that's where we built. You know, we built that, and but yeah, Florel, that building was amazing. That wood, the echo off the wooden floor, it was so good.
It was really, to me, it was a bigger version of Mossy Head, Florida, because you had that same atmosphere in Florala as you did in Mossy Head, but just on a bigger scale, and we were able to put more people in there. So since we're talking about New Heights Wrestling, let's talk about tables, ladders, and chairs.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, what a match. Oh, since you got a cool background, I want to put a cool background too.
Dude, I wish you would have sent that to me. Colby in chat, Colby Jacked actually made this poster.
Dude.
And if you still have a copy of that, Colby, I would love to get that because I need to get a copy printed.
I also have a little note on the back.
Oh, what did I write there?
It says, "Good job. You've come a long way, and I don't trust a lot of people in this type of match. Thank you, Chris Tighe."
Awesome,
2008.
2008. Wow. 12 years ago. So what was it like for I mean, well, that was your first TLC match, right?
Yeah,
I had a couple before that with Scotty Ray's, but it's, I mean, like I said on there, it's like I don't trust a lot of people going to in a match where I'm going to fall off the top of a ladder through a table to the outside of the ring or get hit with a chair. You know, what was your thought process going into a match like that? Obviously, you watched a lot of Hardy Boy matches, and you were a fan,
Dudleys.
right? So you, but like from a wrestling standpoint, not a fan standpoint, like getting ready for that type of match. What was your thought process?
At that age, I don't know, man. Being that age, and I was just like, I don't want to go out here, and I didn't want to hurt you. For one, I didn't want to, because in this business, you know, we have to trust each other with our lives.
Right.
And I did. That was one thing. I was like, I did not want to hurt him, and I don't want nobody to get hurt really. I wasn't worried about I wasn't really worried about myself very much. It's because I've been through pain. I felt pain, and I just did not want to go out there and make you look bad, and I didn't want to get you hurt. and my mind process was go out there, be safe, and just have fun and just be in the moment, because it was one of those in the moment matches, and it changed my way of thinking in the ring a lot when it comes to safety. And there was a bunch of parts in there was one part of the match that freaked me. I don't know if you remember this, but it was pretty funny. It was a funny part, because I was thinking while I was in the match too, not hurting you or probably hurting myself. I climbed to it was probably about a 15-foot, 20-foot ladder or something like that. It did about 15-foot ladder. And in the middle of the ring, and you're on that table outside the ring.
Right.
And I get on that ladder, and nobody's holding the ref's not holding the bottom.
Right.
It's shaking like crazy, and I'm just like, nope. I walked right back down that ladder. I walked right back down that ladder, stand on the top rope, and jump off the top rope to the outside. I was like, dang, no way I'm jumping off this ladder.
Oh, that's
like,
funny. Yeah, I mean, people don't realize, they don't see it in the bigger matches, but usually, yeah, somebody's holding the bottom of that ladder. The ref is helping them out and nonchalantly, but you know, who was our ref for that show? Do you remember?
I think it might have been Frog.
You know what? I haven't heard about Frog for a while. Frog Lane, right?
Yeah, I believe it might have been Frog Lane.
Yeah.
Either that's the only one I can remember. Think we were booking at New Heights at that time.
Yeah, that's probably right. And Colby said the same thing. He got all the main events. I forgot about Frog. You ever talked to Frog?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, I hadn't talked to him. I don't talk to him.
Do you happen to have footage of that match?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't even know. I think Waylon probably has it stashed away somewhere in his little vault he keeps, but because he got so much stuff, I don't get to see much of my. I don't get to see much of my matches. But when it came to that match, I remember one of the craziest spots we did, and it probably hurt more than anything that we did in that match, was when you gave me a back. You jumped from one ladder or did you? One of us jumped from one ladder to the other and backcracker.
You gave me the backcracker off the ladder.
I gave it to you, but it hurt me so bad. That was the worst. That was probably the worst bump I've ever took in my career, and because you just crushed me. We came off that ladder.
Look, guys, I've never been a small cruiserweight. All right,
dude, it was bad. And it's funny in this picture. I got a lot more hair, and you got a lot less. It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah, that is my long hair.
I love the hawk though. It's cool, man.
I appreciate it, man.
And then when I you came up with that crazy freaking spot for me to backdrop you over the top rope to the outside of the tables.
And that was the finish. That was the finish.
Yeah. I was like, really? You want me to do that? I was flipping out. I think I was stressed out the whole match. I wasn't worried. I mean, I was like, I'm really gonna have to do this to this guy. He wants me to throw him over a top rope through these tables. But that was an amazing match. I loved it, and it was one I'll always remember. But we had a lot of good matches in Florida. That was a good place. There was a lot of memories.
So just to break up that conversation for a second, over there, we can see a match between yourself, Rex Andrews, and BTY and Colby Godwin. I believe that is at in Crestview at the Armory for Southern Wrestling Alliance. They put on a huge show. They call it the WrestleMania of the Gulf Coast. We're gonna have Heath Childs, the promoter of that, on the show later this season. But you want to talk about Southern Wrestling Alliance for a moment?
Oh, that was probably one of the biggest shows I've ever worked, was those shows. And love Heath, and the crowd was always hot. Dude, I had some of my best matches there. Probably one of my most defining matches was the Fatal 5-Way.
We saw that at the beginning of the show on the monitor. If you were paying attention over there, I don't know. I don't know what you guys look at.
It was me.
Uh-oh. You're breaking up again.
And oh, am I good? We good?
Yeah, wow, you
can hear me?
You're very small now. Wait, I think we lost you. All right, guys, we're gonna hang out for a second, see if we can get him back.
There we go.
Yep.
We good?
Yep.
I took off my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi's so spotty. But where did I start? Did you hear me? I was named that 5-way. It was me, you, Colby, Godwin, Scarface, Terry Racker, and Frost, and yourself. And that match, I didn't realize it. Right after that, that's what kind of got us really interested in going to that camp, the Harley race camp that we all went to. Me and you, and I think it was me, you,
Waylon
Barley, and Doug Pitt.
Yep.
Drove 18 hours.
No.
It was
You
pretty
did
dang
not
close.
drive 18 hours straight.
Oh, I'm sorry. I rode beside you 18 hours straight. We played every dang car game that we could think of.
You were in the trunk at one moment.
I was.
I remember. I love seeing the pictures come up on Facebook every year, and just I kind of like look through the photos and just kind of reminisce about that trip. That was a lot of fun. I mean, I really enjoyed a week of just hanging out with the boys and learning underneath Harley Race and who else was there? Bobby Fish was such a tremendous help.
Steamboat.
Ricky Steamboat was there. Vader gave me the compliment of my wrestling career. Like that's.
I believe me too. Hey, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna get you off the mic. I'm gonna have to bring my phone's almost dead. Give me a second.
Okay. All right, guys. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking to Joe Milo. His Skype's going crazy right now. So if you have any questions, I'm kind of talking to questions or taking questions in between everything. So if you have any questions, Joe Milo was a huge force, one of the team hybrid players on the Gulf Coast, with myself, Colby Godwin, Cameron Frost, Scotty, and Billy Reyes. Was Saxton at that camp? Saxton wasn't at that camp. However, we did see Steve Anthony there. Steve Anthony was at the camp, and it was been years since I saw Steve Anthony since then. And he struck up the conversation right with me as soon as he saw me, and it was real cool to see somebody from the Gulf Coast, making waves over there and inside of Harley Race's World League Wrestling. So yeah, you want to talk about the camp for a minute? Man, that was hard.
Dude, that was insane. That was probably the craziest thing I've ever done.
Pro Wrestling Noah is no joke,
bro. It was great, but it was that was the most exciting day ever, dude. When I got to chain wrestle with some of the guys from Noah, and the whole camps is like circled around a ring watching me chain with another guy, and I'm keeping up with them, and they're like taking pictures and stuff like that. I was like, this is it. This is where, I mean, it was amazing to me. And probably my favorite part of that camp was we were training with some of the trainers at the camp, and he was trying to teach us. They were going to teach us chain wrestling, or show us some chain wrestling, teach us chain wrestling, and it was me and you, I believe. And they're like, just start doing some chain wrestling or whatever. And they didn't realize we were from the deep south, and that's all. And we tore it up, and the guy was just like, okay.
Next two?
Couldn't critique, couldn't do anything. He was like, okay, yeah, let's move on.
Waylon Barley almost killed somebody at that training camp.
Bonza, yeah. That
So his name was Bonsai. He actually went on to WWE and started being a ref for WWE. But Waylon Barley was in a match with him, a singles match, and did I think it was a belly to back suplex.
No, it was actually supposed to just be. It was supposed to be a where he goes for a belly back and he just flips him over.
Right.
Flip over to his feet and he slid down his back and just dropped it
right on his head, and you hear everybody in the room. They just yell "Bonsai," which is hilarious because he's landing on his head. But that's his name, so that's what else do you yell? You know, like it would have been better if it was like Cannonball or something. You know, like.
Yeah. And Vader actually gave me one of my greatest compliments ever in wrestling myself. He said, "You scream like a woman." That's how I was like, hey. He actually, his words were actually, because when I was selling and had a match and selling and stuff, he's like, "You scream so good. I wish I had you in our bedroom when I'm having sex with my wife." That's what was one of because you sound better than she does. So I was like, thanks. I appreciate that.
Colby wants to know, what's it like being one of the fans WWE zoomed in on when Brock beat Taker at WrestleMania?
Oh, man.
Colby said he marked out of the house when he saw you and Milo on the TV with their jaws on the floor.
Dude, that was one of the coolest moments. That was the coolest moment ever, really. Like, that was probably one of the coolest moments of my. I wasn't wrestling, but it was my wrestling career, I guess. Man, that was and like me and Waylon are sitting there, and our phones start just getting blown up. Like, dude, we just seen you guys. What are y'all doing? I'm like, man, they're. This is a big old. Well, first we got like one or two, and we're like, oh, they're ribbing us.
Right.
They're ribbing it. And then it just like blew up. 10 people like one time just started blowing up our phones and like, oh, we just seen you at WrestleMania. And I'm like, no flipping way. And they sent us texted a picture of us like with our mouths hanging open, watching that god awful decision. But yeah, that was amazing. That was good stuff. And I've had a lot of WrestleMania memories, and that was super fun. But yeah, that was a once in a lifetime thing. And that was really cool.
Are you going through a car wash?
Oh, sorry. I might have covered up the speaker.
Oh, okay. I was like, man, it sounds like you're going through a car wash.
Well, I got a stupid iPhone that your plug-in port is where you plug your headphones in. And I'm like, they did. I'm like, I can't even wear headphones.
All right, so we got about 8 minutes left.
What more to talk about? No,
I mean, we could definitely get you back on a future episode, but your favorite opponent, favorite match, real quick.
Favorite opponent, favorite match. Whoo! Even though I'm the little guy, I'm always the little guy. I'm always the underdog, and I'm always the guy. I'd fight anybody, anytime, any day, and that's not stealing from Kevin Owens. I literally would take on anybody, and I didn't care. I would go. It had to be Waylon Barley, probably be my favorite opponent.
I always loved psychology between a big brother and a small guy. You know, like I watched a lot of Shawn Michaels as an influence for me when I wanted to become a pro wrestler. And watching him take on some of these heavyweights and telling that story when he did it was always fun. So I'm with you. Like if I could face off with somebody that was big. Man, it was always fun.
And my favorite match, bro. I had a lot of good matches and a lot of fun. Man, it had to be that 5-way because the crowd was just so there, and it flowed so well. They were eating the palm of our hands the whole time.
That was the first ever SWA show too, wasn't it? I want to say that we started off Southern Wrestling Alliance with a bang, because like, no, Colby's saying no, that wasn't the first one.
I didn't get. I don't think I was invited to. I don't know if I was asked to go to the first one, but
Okay.
but yeah, and man, I just loved working Wayland just because people were very. I loved shocking people because me being my size, and I would pick this 400-pound guy up on my shoulders and Death Valley Drive. That was one part I really liked doing because even though he was a big dude, I love just blowing people's minds with like stuff me and him could do together.
So
And he go ahead.
I was gonna move on. So finish that thought process.
Oh yeah, and the same match that I'd pick him up and throw him that I could do a Death Valley Drive with him, he would jump up and do an enziguri on me.
Nice.
So
right.
we would go back and forth doing stuff like that.
Yeah, he's very agile for his size. We tried to get him on the show, and he said, "I don't really do Twitch, and I don't really do technology, so I don't think I'm the right guy for it." And I'm like, I mean, all you have to do is answer the phone, but okay.
He said like he likes to stay in his little I love him to death. He's one of my groomsmen in my wedding, but he likes to stay in his little tomb, a little cave,
right,
and don't be bothered, just leave me alone, like grumpy old troll.
All right, so what's Joe Milo up to these days? You still wrestling? Are you still active? Will you ever wrestle again?
Never say never.
What a canned response.
Money talks, we all know this. Money talks. So you never say never.
All right, look, I'm gonna book a show and I'll pay you a hot dog and a handshake. Are you coming?
Hey, you can take that hot dog and you know what to do with it.
But you can wrestle whoever you want.
No, wait. Fight whoever. That's the thing. Fight whoever.
Local. All right, look, I'm only paying people in hot dogs. All right.
Spend all your money on that big name is what most of these promotions do.
Right.
But no, I'm not coming. I won't be back. I won't be back unless right situation, right money. I'm not coming. I'm basically retired. My body, I'm definitely not in the shape I used to be in. Starting to get the classic dad bod. Right,
you're a father now. You want to shout out to your kids and your beautiful wife. I was lucky enough to be at your wedding once again. I appreciate that honor, man.
Problem, man. I'm glad you were there. It was a big blur that whole day. Just the pressure and everything. But we got my beautiful wife Sarah, my two kids Oliver and Riley. They're my world. But what am I into now? I'm a youth pastor. I'm going to school to become a optician. Sorry, I can't even pronounce the name. And I'm going to school
We haven't took that class yet. All right, get off our back.
I go to school to be an optician, but no, I'm not doing really much of anything. I still watch. I can't right now in this times. I can't even watch WWE or. I watch news feeds and see what's going on and stuff, and if something cool happens.
You're not watching AEW?
I am watching AEW, so I don't watch it. I go back, I watch news feeds and find out what happened. If something really cool happens, I'll go watch it. But I'm not. Dude, I'm a wrestler. Even though I'm not wrestling, I will always be a wrestler, and I'm a wrestling fan. But what got me into wrestling was the fans, and it's so hard.
It's very hard to watch shows these days without any crowd interaction. Although we got the Thunderdome now over in WWE.
That's a lot of people. I see a lot of hate on that, but that's not bad. That is not.
It's different,
It looks the entrance look awesome now that all those LED screens out in the crowd. I mean, it looks pretty sweet. Besides the only thing is. I don't like about it is people sitting in their house. I don't know. It's weird.
It's different. It's just gonna take some getting used to,
It's better than the plexiglass and the forced time broke chance.
If someone wanted to keep up with you and get in touch, talk about the old days, where can they do that?
Oh man, you'd have to. You can hit me up on, I guess, Facebook Messenger. Because I'm not on Facebook. I don't too much too much anger and hate going on right now in the world, and I get tired of seeing it. But
Yeah.
I love each and every one of you guys, fans, wrestlers. If you ever need me, you need just somebody to talk to, prayer. Hey, one of these guys got my number. Search Joe Milo on Instagram or on search Joe Bien. I'll throw my real name out there.
Yeah.
And
it's good that you know how to pronounce that. That's a joke because your last name's Bien. Anyway. Colby Godwin is our guest next week on the Tie Up. He's filling in for a guest that needed to move back a few episodes. Tell me one of your favorite moments with Colby Godwin.
Oh, man, I love Colby. I love Matt, and I love his mind in a ring. That's one thing he does. He thinks so clearly when he's in that ring, and he calls the right spots at the right times. But probably my favorite moment with Colby, man, it was probably the WrestleMania. The whole week we spent down at WrestleMania was just an amazing time. Colby got his ear slapped by Waylon and busted his eardrum really bad in the match, and that thing smelled like dead fish. And it was awesome. It was great. It was a good time, and but I love him, and if he ever needs me, he knows where to find me. And it's cool to see him be the dad he is, and I love that he's getting back in shape and he's trying to motivate people, and that's really cool too. And also, one of my favorite matches. I just realized one of my favorite matches I ever had was the finals of the wrestle card, or was it a super card in Florida, Alabama, when I faced Paul Jourdain and won that. That was probably one of the most had the wrestling fans in the palm of your hand.
That match can be found on YouTube. I actually went by that match when I was looking for other matches to put on for you. And your favorite, you know, it's the Tie Up. What's your favorite Chris Tie moment?
Favorite Chris Tie moment. Oh, dude, that X Division match we had in Panama.
Oh, WIW did the X Division match.
Off, and I kicked your butt from a freaking 30 feet off the air, and everybody like split like the red.
Nobody was there. Like, yeah. I look down and I see you. I see David Prime next to you and a couple of other guys, but like you two were like right next to each other, and I'm like, that's where I'm headed.
Bro, I wish we could talk more about you. I know we got to go, but man, you influenced me a lot. I loved dude, I was one of those guys that, you know, they would I was small, and you know, they wanted to push me out when I first started wrestling because I was small, and I've maybe been 170 pounds, maybe 155. I'm not even gonna bill myself like wrestling, but a lot of these guys would push me to the limit and try to beat the living crap out of me to get me to quit. But I would laugh in their face and say, "Please, sir, may I have another?"
Right.
I felt like, I don't know if this is true or not, but I felt like when we first met, I remember you busting my tail in the ring one time doing cardio on me. If you remember that. Now, I think it was right before we started shoot wrestling.
Right.
And
I actually remember, I think the first time you came over to CSW, you were finally branching out away from AWF, and I was pretty stiff with you. We had a match I opened up the show with you, and then I went on to wrestle later, and I was pretty stiff with you, and you just like took all of it in, and you came up to me after the match. You were very humble about it. You know, you thanked me for it, and at that point I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna work with this guy a lot, and just try to pass as much of my knowledge as I can off to you. And I mean, that's when you proved to me who you were. So
man, yeah, you guys, y'all were you say I'm part of that hybrid thing. You guys were the hybrid, and that's what I wanted to be. I was like, dude, that is so cool, the hybrid wrestling. And I was like, that's what I want to be part of. But I feel like I became more like just the guy, the stiff guy, because I was like, oh, I'll just punch. I can't do these the crazy things that y'all do. And it was so cool, the different submissions y'all came up with, just the different styles. I was in awe watching you and Frost and Colby when I first started.
I can't wait to talk about that triple threat 2 out of 3s falls match that I had with Colby and Cameron Frost next week, and then hopefully we can get Cameron Frost on the show here shortly too. In closing, is there anything else you want to say, man?
Man, I just want to say, guys, I love you. Hey, support this guy. Share his videos. He's hard working. If you can't tell, his stuff is legit, and I'm excited, man. I've been watching them all. Been watching your video game streams, dude. I'm excited for your future and what you're going to do with your channel. And like I said before, and I'll say it again, I say it over Facebook all the time. I love each and every person that is watching this and everybody at home. If you need me, I mean, you can find me. It's not hard. I'm on Facebook or some Facebook Messenger. But
I'd love to get like a reunion, like not a show, but like a reunion of just some of the boys together and hanging out for a weekend or something, like just catching up on life. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, it would. I agree. And you don't even have to wear a mask.
All right, that's going to tie up another edition of the Tie Up. Remember, we're live every Sunday night at 9 p.m. on Twitch. If you missed this episode or any previous episode, they can all be accessed on YouTube or by searching for the Tie Up on your favorite podcast platform. Once again, I want to thank TableOC.com for being a sponsor of the show. Make sure to check out their show, the Round Table Talk Show, where they discuss all the happenings around streaming, gaming, and entertainment just prior to the Tie Up every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then make sure for more information you check out TableOC.com. Joe, once again, man, I appreciate you being on the show, man. It was so great catching up with you. I was so excited when you agreed to come on the show, man.
Hey, man, God bless you, bro, and I love you. It was a privilege, and I would love to do it again. It was an awesome experience.
Maybe after I get through all of the main people I want to get on the show, I can just start doing like round table shows.
Get the main eventers.
just the main eventers. All right, guys, we will see you next Sunday, and of course I'm live also Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you then. Peace.